When I was a child, watching television with wide-eyed enthusiasm, I was engrossed by a police drama that always ended with this line: "There are 8 million stories in the naked city. This has been one of them." I still use the line today, albeit slightly modified, when I want to underline a narrative's dramatic power and emotional drive. I hold to the firm conviction that everyone has a story worth telling. Love and the Working Class is based on that belief, borne out by endless research in 19th-century letters. I have confidence that understanding the lives of ordinary people is essential to capturing the big picture of American culture and behavior. This understanding involves empathetic examination of the social structures they abide, the cultural meanings they absorb, and the economic conditions they struggle to cope with and occasionally surmount. Rather than the naked city, however, their America was mostly rural and still some years away from being an industrial colossus. But even 2 centuries removed, the TV ending announces my intention to safeguard these 19th-century Americans from vanishing into the multitude. The individual stories presented here are not the usual superstars of best-selling history. You won't find a Lincoln, Grant, Lee, or Roosevelt. Instead, you will hear from factory hands, laborers, peddlers, coopers, carpenters, lumbermen, miners, tanners, haulers, tailors, seamstresses, laundresses, domestics, sharecroppers, independent farmers, common soldiers, and wives. The pageant of their lives involved them in the gold rush, westward expansion, slavery, the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, and much, much more. But the drama of their everyday existence was also about finding a mate, arguing with the spouse, having sex, raising decent children, dying with dignity, and, at the center of it all, receiving community respect and support. Some of their most urgent troubles revolved around the struggle to provide the necessities of life for themselves and their families. What I have collected here are micro-narratives, little bits and pieces of a hard-scrabble existence that capture their humor, grit, hope, and endurance. I invite you to enter the anonymous corners of their lives to understand what they believed and felt about themselves, their kinfolk, and their friends. As much as possible, I wanted these working-class people living in the 19th century to speak in their own words. Since interviews weren't possible, the next best thing was letters. Often armed with only a 3rd or 4th grade education, these Americans could read, but had limited instruction in writing. Yet they sat down to compose a letter, sometimes with no more than a scratchy pen and a phonetic alphabet, because letters were the only way to connect with distant.